All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're going to act as forward-thinking assurance investigators. We're stepping completely out of the traditional accounting ledger to unpack the high-stakes, fast-paced world of corporate sustainability. It's this fascinating space where marketing often collides head-on with reality. And in this explainer, it's our job to figure out how the experts actually tell the difference. I mean, think about it. Every single brand you interact with today claims they're saving the planet, right? From the coffee you drink in the morning to the clothes you're wearing right now, the green leaf logos and eco-friendly promises are literally everywhere. But we have to ask, is that green company actually green? How do we verify the truth behind the marketing? How do we know for sure a corporation's eco-promises aren't just some clever, highly funded advertising campaign? Well, that brings us to what is essentially our ultimate corporate lie detector test: sustainability assurance. In the professional realm, like with ACCA AAA auditing standards, this is the strict, uncompromising mechanism that separates verified, measurable facts from greenwashed fiction. It's the shield that protects consumers and investors alike. Here is our auditor's blueprint. We'll look at 1, the rise of green audits; 2, measuring the unmeasurable; 3, integrated versus standalone reports; 4, how to spot greenwashing; and 5, why this matters now.
Starting with Section 1, the rise of green audits, the new audit frontier.
Just look around. There's been an absolute explosion of eco-friendly claims in the market over the last decade or so. And because of that, the role of the sustainability auditor has honestly never been more vital, and as we're about to see, never more challenging. We've completely shifted from a world where a company's value was strictly based on its profit and loss statement to a world where their environmental and social footprint is equally scrutinized by global markets. And because there's just so much financial value attached to being seen as green, the incentive to exaggerate is massive. That requires rigorous, absolutely independent verification. Moving right along to Section 2, measuring the unmeasurable, qualitative difficulties. Now, this basically illustrates the auditor's nightmare. When a traditional auditor looks at revenue, it's pretty straightforward, right? They have concrete dollars and cents. But take environmental claims, for instance. Saying you improved biodiversity often suffers from a total lack of standardized historical baselines. How do you definitively measure the return of local wildlife compared to a baseline that was literally never recorded 10 years ago? Then there's the social indicator, like enhanced employee well-being. Human happiness is highly subjective and incredibly difficult to quantify objectively. Finally, economic claims like community investment impact rely on squishy metrics compared to hard financial data. Did that new community center actually drive local economic growth, or was it just a really good photo op for the executives? Measuring these qualitative indicators requires a completely different, highly creative investigative approach. The crucial point is captured perfectly here. While traditional financial auditing is heavily numbers-based and relies on rigid historical ledgers, tracking environmental and social data feels a lot less like accounting and a whole lot more like detective work, magnifying glass and all. You aren't just adding up columns of numbers. You're evaluating the integrity of scientific methodologies, analyzing employee survey data, and constantly questioning the context of the information provided to you by management. All right, Section 3. Integrated versus standalone reports, the assurance gap. Notice the stark contrast here. On one side, we've got an integrated report where a company bundles its financial and sustainability data all together. In this format, sustainability metrics are often legally categorized merely as other information. On the flip side, we have a standalone report. This is an independent document dedicated entirely to a company's environmental and social impact. Data buried as mere other info in an integrated report faces a totally different level of scrutiny compared to a report standing completely independent. And that creates what experts call the assurance gap. When sustainability data is just classified as other info, auditors operating under certain standards might only be required to scan it for glaring, obvious inconsistencies with the main financial statements. It's a much lighter touch. But a standalone report, that demands a rigorous, dedicated assurance process from the ground up. The formatting essentially dictates the strictness of the audit, which is a massive takeaway for anyone reading these corporate documents. Which leads us to Section 4, How to Spot Greenwashing, the Investigator Playbook. Okay, let's open up that playbook and look at the exact procedure used to catch greenwashing in the act. Step 1. Trace claims back to source documents. If you claim you planted 1 million trees, great, but the auditor wants the invoices from the nursery and the GPS coordinates of the forest. Step 2. Interrogate subjective management metrics. Auditors don't just accept a company's internal definition of well-being, they challenge the premise itself. Step 3, cross-check against hard financial realities. This is a big one. If a company boasts about a revolutionary green technology pivot, but their capital expenditure records show they spent less than 1% of their budget on it, well, the math just doesn't align with the marketing. And finally, step 4, identify omitted negative impacts. Greenwashing isn't just about lying, it's about hiding. Did the company highlight their amazing recycling program but conveniently omit a massive toxic spill at a subsidiary?
By using these tactics, forward-thinking experts can literally sniff out the discrepancies between a company's glossy marketing brochures and its actual verified environmental footprint. They're ruthlessly scrutinizing the methodology. They're demanding hard, verifiable evidence for social improvements. They're actively reconciling those beautiful economic sustainability stories with the cold, hard, traditional financial audits. And crucially, they're benchmarking the company's claims against independent industry data to see if the corporation is actually leading the pack or if they're just making a lot of noise.
And finally, Section 5, why this matters now, corporate accountability.
So the next time a company tells you they're carbon neutral or socially responsible, you're going to know exactly the intense, multi-layered scrutiny it takes for an auditor to actually verify that claim. Because without assurance, we are essentially flying blind. Assurance is this invisible infrastructure. It protects your consumer choices, ensuring you aren't being tricked into paying a premium for fake green products. It guides secure investments, preventing capital from flowing into fraudulent eco-ventures. And above all, it forces genuine corporate accountability in a world that desperately needs it right now. I want to leave you with this provocative final thought for this explainer, just to challenge how we all view corporate accountability. If a company's green promises can't be audited, were they ever really promises at all? Or were they just beautifully designed illusions? Understanding the true value of assurance gives you the power to see through the noise, demand real evidence, and champion the companies that are actually doing the hard work to build a sustainable future. Keep questioning and keep demanding the evidence.